So we roll 2 dice so that hopefully we get one that we haven't had already. So, what are you nerding out about? Sarah, what are you nerding out about recently?
Hmm. 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 Uh, Everybody's gonna expect me who knows me to say something theater, which is not a lie. Today, the Tony Awards were announced, and
Okay.
that's kind of been my day right now. Um, where there was a bunch of shows. I think they said like 11 shows got knocked out of the Tonys. Like they're not there at all.
Oh,
But the
wow.
one that I am super interested in, and I'm not sure if this is one I would necessarily take the kids to, but is Death Becomes Her. It
Yeah.
got like I think 10 or 11 awards.
Oh,
And I think
wow.
that's going to
Oh,
be
wow.
the or nominations for awards, but um, that's kind of where I've been geeking out on that and Star Trek. So,
Which Star Trek?
specifically Strange New Worlds.
Okay.
I at Dragon Con, I cast direct and basically oversee Subspace Rhapsody Picture Show, which is the musical episode from season 2. And we are getting ready to close auditions. And so I've been in my little brain, like being excited because if you know anything about our show last year, we put in a lot of inside jokes and things that were not in the episode. And I have just so many ideas about what I want to add. Um, and also, the new season is coming out here pretty darn quickly. And so I'm excited about that.
I should give that a watch sometime. That's the one with Anson Mountain, correct?
Yes,
Okay.
Anson is in it. They actually came, Anson, Christina Chong, and Ethan Peck all came to our show last year at Dragon Con, and that was
Nice.
really cool. So,
That is
I got
very
a I
cool.
got a chance to talk to Anson briefly last year because
very nice
Charles
guy.
did
The well
well,
with him,
yes, yeah,
right?
the Well podcast, but Charles wasn't a participant. He was
Hmm.
tech support for him, and he actually used my equipment to record it on. But yeah, so I was up there. Anson had gone off the stage. He had left, and I went up
Hmm.
to help clean up the equipment, and he popped back out and talked to us for about 5 minutes and whatnot. So that was fun.
He's a
That's
very
cool.
nice guy. They were not supposed to come to our show. Um, Long story short, my cast scared me last year. I thought something was wrong, like it's a Klingon having a conniption. And because they were saying, you have to come backstage, you have to come backstage now. Turn the corner into like one of those little hotel like corridors, and the three of them are standing there. And I'm just like, oh, hi. And of course, me being a stage manager, I immediately went into troubleshooting mode because I had nowhere for them to sit. Um, and when it came time to bring them on stage, I was like, "Where are my people?" And Anson's like, "We are your people." Just very nice guy, totally humorous, but good natured. But yeah, I love the guy. I don't know if he's going to come to con though, because he's getting him and his wife are getting ready to have a baby apparently. So right
Oh, good
around
for him.
August. So
that,
Yeah.
that's a good reason to miss con.
yeah, though
Yeah.
he said he might still go. Like people were asking him on one of his live streams because he streams a lot live on Instagram, and he said he might, but he just doesn't know yet.
Okay.
Mm.
All right. Well, Shannon, what are you nerding out about?
What am I not nerding out about? As somebody with a neurospicy brain, the
Mhm.
ADHD is right there and constantly going over to this thing and that thing. Um, Recently, I had been diving into classic horror literature, so like Dracula and Frankenstein. I've also been diving into the efficacy of how horror is produced in film and also in media, how the ethics of filming and reporting on it and all that kind of stuff. And David Lynch, and diving into him quite a bit.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
what
And
is your
Doctor Who,
favorite?
because there's a new season.
There you go. So with David Lynch, what specifically have you been getting into with his?
Everything. Everything. We're actually planning on doing an episode on Earth Station Boo on David Lynch. And so I've been just circling that rabbit hole and just going further and further in. And I'm just like, I love it all. I mean, I was already a fan of Eraserhead and Twin Peaks, but it's just one of those, the more you get to like see the mind of David Lynch, the more interesting it gets.
Mm.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So for me, I've got two things this past week that I'm nerding out about. The first one is my wife and I recently started the MCU with our boys. So
Oh.
So my boys are 5, 10, and 12.
Wow.
They watched the first. Now, I guess some people might argue whether it's MCU or not because it wasn't originally, but now it is. But they watched the first Tobey Maguire Spider-Man,
Okay.
and because my boys just absolutely love everything Spider-Man, so they've watched that. And then this past week we watched Iron Man, and they were
Okay.
really digging Iron Man, and they were my 5-year-old. He kept dancing whenever the rock music would start playing. So there's a ton of rock music in Iron Man, and it was just adorable watching him over there bobbing his head and just getting into it. And yeah, so it was a lot of fun. They are excited to continue along that journey, and it'll be a fun ride because it'll be nice to see their reactions to the various different plot twists and whatnot, and to vicariously experience it all fresh, to see their fresh take on it. So
Yeah.
yeah. The other thing that I'm nerding out about is I finished an audiobook this week um, called Elantris. It's a book by Brandon Sanderson. I've talked about him a bunch of different times on the show. He's among my favorite authors.
Mhm.
Elantris is
Mhm.
actually a book that he wrote originally a long time ago. It was one of his early books, and he didn't publish it because it wasn't he couldn't get a handle on it. Like he had finished it, but he was like, this is not printable. And so he actually went
Mhm.
back to it and basically rewrote it from the ground up. And so after he had a bunch of different books published, he went back and was like, okay, let's go back to this. I loved the idea. Let's rework it. And so he rewrote it, and it turned out really well. At its core, it's basically a political intrigue book,
Okay.
with a fair share of supernatural elements. So the city of Elantris is 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 a city that used to be a gorgeous city that was full of magic, and the Elantrians, they were these people. They start off as normal people, but they had this transformation come over them, and they had like silver skin, and they would glow in the dark because they were just full of magic.
Mhm.
And this cataclysm happened where instead of being transformed into these beautiful creatures, they were almost transformed into zombie-esque creatures. Like not definitely not traditional zombies. And the only reason I even
Okay.
mention zombie is their hearts stop beating. Their their skin loses all of its luster and becomes gray with black splotches in it. Um,
Mm-hmm.
if they get wounded, it doesn't heal. It hurts forever. So like one of the main characters, he goes through this transformation, and one of the first things that happens to him after the transformation is he stubs his toe. He permanently has a stub toe at that point. That pain never goes away. And
Oh,
so
that's not fun.
no. Um, and if you become an Elantri, and if you go through this transformation, you're relegated to this city of Elantris that used to be a beautiful city and now is in decay, covered in slime, like, and you are trapped there. Like there's guards up on the walls, you can't leave, and so there's all of this political nuance with the relationships between Elantris and its couple of closest cities near them, and it's pretty awesome. Like there is some action in it here and there, but at its core, it's all about politics, and I found it very enjoyable. I finished it earlier today, and it was very very good. So, but yeah, so Elantris, it fantastic listen. I listened to the audiobook, but it was a fantastic listen. My only complaint is that the app I use, Libby app, does not have the next two books on it. So I will have to
Um,
figure that out.
Mm, yeah,
um,
I just finished a book like literally right before we went live called Light Lark, and there are at least two other books, maybe three. And so but I'm one of those people that I hate spending my audiobook credits. Like I read a lot of physical
mhm,
media, but I also do I have audiobook credits, and
mhm.
I'm like maybe I'll spend it on that. So,
There you go. Yeah,
If you don't have the app, it's called Libro.fm, and it is
mhm.
a audiobook app where you can purchase the audiobooks, but you can give credit to mom and pop bookstores. So instead of Amazon
mm,
getting your money,
Mm,
your local bookstore gets the cash.
I've actually heard of Libro FM. It's been a hot minute, and I had
Yeah.
forgotten what it was called. But yeah, no, the one I use, Libby app, ties in with local
The
libraries. So
libraries.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah. So we use our library card to tie into it.
Yeah.
This is one of the few instances where I was like, man, I wish I had a Georgia library card, because Georgia, all of their libraries are synchronized through the entire state,
oh
whereas
wow.
my library card is just a one single local library. So
Check
Mm,
their website though, Georgia's website, because you might be able to get an online only library card. There's a few different states and libraries that are doing that where people can get an online one so they can get the audiobooks online.
I'll have to look into that, because
Yeah.
then
yeah.
then
I need
theoretically
to
I could
go.
have a broader catalog to choose
Yeah.
from.
Mhm. I wanted to get into Libby, but I'm gonna be honest, I have to go into the library, and the library is inconvenient from my house, so I have not. I'm
Yeah.
a person who just doesn't go on that side of town very often, and I've got to go and show them that I'm a real person so that they'll let me log in again. So,
I can
but yeah.
identify all the bridges. I am a real person.
Yeah.